It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, I get to cast a game of professional StarCraft 2 that's not played in 1 versus 1, but it's played in 2v2 instead. Usually these games are extremely chaotic, so I'm going to try my very best to keep track of all of the action. The thing is, in a conventional game of StarCraft 2, in a 1 versus 1 that is, I already know what's, likely going to happen because the game has been played so many times. But in 2v2, a lot of the strategies are up in the air. So first off, in the top right-hand corner is the blue team. We have 2 guys from Finland. We have the rank 1, well, from Finland, but also the world. His name is Serral. And then the rank 2 from Finland, we are looking at Mixu's main hatchery. And then the opponents, they're from Poland, and they go by the name of Elazer, as well as his teammate, who goes by the name of Spirit. Alrighty, so it's like red-ish, like Team Red-ish, going up against like Team Blue-ish. So at the very least, that's gonna make it somewhat easy to figure out what's going on. I mean, I've casted 2v2s in the past as well where, like, the players are completely opposite colors and it becomes very tricky to find out what's going on. But already, if you look at the minimap right now, there's like 12 things moving and it's hard to keep track. So if I miss an important engagement in these casts, yeah, sorry, but not a whole lot I can really do about it as a one-man production team. Anyways, these particular games are from a tournament called a Nation Wars. A Nation Wars, it's basically a bunch of different countries that get to participate in it, and then, you get to determine who the very best nation of StarCraft 2 is. Which always has been amazing. It's always been an amazing concept, and I don't really know exactly if they've done this for longer than just the currently ongoing season. But basically, for a while now at least, they've been doing 2 versus 2 as part of the Nation War as well. Because in the past, you could basically have Team Serral, right? Also known as Team Finland. It doesn't really matter who else is on the team as long as Serral is on there, because he can probably 1v1 pretty much everyone else out there. So at some point they decided, okay, let's do some 2v2s as part of the event as well, just to see how that goes. And I always think that 2v2 is one of the missed opportunities of StarCraft. A lot of players would definitely be interested in trying it out. I mean, at this point, obviously, the game, it's balanced around 1 versus 1 competitively. So 2v2 is probably gonna probably have some broken strategies that are very, very hard to patch out at this point and not affect 1v1. But at the very least, I've always thought that it's something that I think we could see a little bit more frequently at the pro level. So let's see how these games go. Now, I know for a fact that Mr. Elazer, for example, plays a lot of other games as well. He doesn't play just StarCraft 2. I know that they play a bunch of Dota, and I think they played like they played like a bunch of games. Whereas someone like Serral, I'm fairly certain all Serral does is play StarCraft 2 and like golf, right? That's what he does as well, but generally speaking, it's mostly StarCraft. So I can imagine that someone like Elazer is probably going to feel more comfortable playing a 2v2. So far, I mean, this Zergling control over here is looking pretty sweet as well. A couple of queens are bleeding out. Like, the problem is, right, when you're only playing 1v1 in StarCraft 2, you're not gonna practice things that are very helpful when you're playing a team game, such as communication, right? Like, you're not only gonna be practicing the way that you should be interpreting information that your ally is shouting at you, but also not what you should be communicating to your allies as well. So it's a different skill. It's definitely a different skill, and it's not, it's not very easy to compare, like, for example, like a Dota 2 to a StarCraft 2. But I do think it helps if you give a little bit of practice to team games as well in a match like this. So we're gonna find out whether or not it will actually help out the team right here in red. Either way, Nightscape, in case you're unfamiliar, it's got like 1 pocket base. So that's exactly, all right. That's exactly why the players right now are working on those rocks right over there. Those debris, once they are down, I think the command center is going to be able to fly on over in that direction, and they're going to be able to continue mining for a little bit longer. Probably easiest to keep track of the income as far as like the total amount goes for both of the teams. So I think the best way to read these types of games is probably just by like the amount of expansions that there are in total. Because obviously in 2v2, you can share minerals and gas as well, so just killing one guy for like 95% of the way, it's not quite enough, because the other ally can just start feeding them resources and help them rebuild as well. So you gotta be careful. So whenever you compare the economical situation here, it's probably best to roughly look at the amount of bases that are on the mini-map, and that will probably give you at least somewhat of an indicator of where these games are currently at. Either way, Elazer right now going for a Muta-based approach, whereas Spirit is going for Blue Flame Hellions. So these guys definitely planning on playing a more aggressive game. Mixu and Serral for the most part. I mean, there's a very quick hive coming up here for Serral. That's a 5-minute hive. What are we... A 5-minute hive? What are we even rushing out at this point? Alright. That is not what we normally see from Serral, but it could just be that he wants to go for a bunch of spellcasters and make it so that, like, he doesn't die, right? He and his teammate are going to be able to stay in this game because his spellcaster control is obviously amazing, so maybe that's what he's aiming for right now, but a 5-minute hive does seem a little bit on the aggressive end of things. There is a Hydralisk den too, so it could be a Lurker den here as soon as this is done. Is that the plan? Are we going to go Lurker den? No, we're not gonna go Lurker Den. At least not yet. So what is the hive for? Maybe it's just for a couple of Vipers. Honestly, Vipers obviously are amazing against Mutas. They're amazing against everything, assuming you can control them. The problem with Vipers alone is that they require like 100, actions per minute in order to control. Just by themselves. But, yeah. Serral will have some APM to spare over here. Roaches are gonna get pushed back. So far, the creep spread is being pushed back too. Now, what you gotta keep in mind is that creep is considered neutral in StarCraft. So, yeah, both of the players right here in blue benefit from the creep, but so does Elazer. Obviously, the flying units don't really care too much. Hellions trying to get as many worker kills here as they can get, but so far, good control right as well by Mixu. Only a handful of drones go down so far. Serral chasing this down with a couple of his roaches, trying to save his opponents, or sorry, his allied eco. See, that's what I autopilot as a caster. I autopiloted to saying opponent rather than ally. Anyhow. Yeah, in the end, those Blue Flame Hellions still definitely got some damage in. 22 drones ended up going down right there in total. Spirit is making a transition towards full Terran mech. So no Marines, no Marauders in this game. Maybe some Ghosts later on. But for now, it's going to be Siege Tanks and Hellions for the most part, with additional factory production coming up. So Serral indeed did rush out the Vipers. Parasitic Bomb. Normally not available at the 7.5-minute mark. Yeah. So, ooh, nice splits over there as well, actually, by the Polish Zerg. Pretty decent splits anyway. Maybe not as perfect as you'd like it to be. So to clarify, Parasitic Bomb, it's an area of effect spell that affects all the units around the unit that it's cast on as well. And it deals 120 damage. The problem is, Mutas, when full HP, have 120 health. So you need to try and split against it, because otherwise those Mutas can pop very, very quickly. Now, they do also regenerate health while they are taking damage, so usually one Parasitic Bomb is not going to cut it, but it's still something you certainly have to respect if the Mutas are bruised in any way, which you can see on, the majority of them right now. They're going to pop. Anyhow, Mutas are shut down by like 7-minute Vipers. Classic. Alright, so the transition here from Elazer after that group of Mutas is to go into Lurkers instead. In the meantime, though, on the side of the Zergs in blue, they are playing a much more conventional style, I would say. They're going Roach Hydra into Viper, right? So, or I guess Viper into Roach Hydra, to be slightly more precise. This is a tried and true unit composition for Zerg. If they attack at the same time, it can deal a lot of damage. Queens of Mixu right here trying their very best to push back those Mutalisks. Yeah, Serral wanted to continue fighting there, but he needs to come home to protect his base. And, well, that of his ally. Mutas are pretty fast, and they're now buying a lot of time. So, what Elazer is trying to get done here is he's trying to buy time for siege units to be out, right? So, siege units in the sense of, like, for example, siege tanks. But also Lurkers fall in that category, and eventually those Lurkers are going to be fully upgraded. He's going to need a few minutes, but we're getting there. Couple of Dropper Lords now morphing in for Mixu. Maybe he wants to try and go around the side. I know at the very least for playing a bunch of 2v2 myself that Blue Flame... Or sorry, Blue Flame is not that big of a problem. It's mostly the Void Rays and the Tempest and stuff that can be an issue. No, Protals in this particular game, so that's not a problem in this match. But what I'm trying to get at, though, is that those open airspaces are very, very dangerous. Either way, Serral and Mixu pushing together right now with an absolutely massive Roach Hydra-based army. Vipers are available, some Parasitic Bombs and a couple of Blinding Clouds and an Abduction here and there are being used. I think there might be enough, though, here for the Terran, as well as the Zerg. I mean, they're kind of cut off. Yeah, so the Planetary at the very least will hold. There's going to be a ton of reinforcements coming out of the bases in the bottom left, too. Mutas still picking off whatever they can. I love that, actually. Using the Mutas right here to cut off the reinforcements. I think there is going to be enough right here in the bottom left to eventually get rid of all of those roaches and ravagers and hydras in blue. But at what cost, right? Exactly how much have they lost? Base over here, not actually harassed just yet. Serral is moving on over in that direction at this point. Base all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map also finishing up. A ton of workers are getting destroyed here. And I guess income-wise, yeah, Mixu and Serral are not doing bad whatsoever. They've taken a lot of bases on the right side of the map. They've been macroing to the best of their abilities. Their huge Roach Hydra army did get cleaned up eventually, but I've got a feeling there's going to be more where that came from. Okay, can we have a look at the resources lost, or the units lost at the very least? Yeah. So, only 3 SCVs actually, interestingly enough. Smooth split right over there. Okay. So this map only really has a couple of attack paths, other than, you know, the air paths, I suppose, through the ground that lead towards the other side. So I think going for an air-based army is not a bad idea whatsoever. So in my personal experience, what I was trying to get at earlier, in 2v2 on this map, Protosses will 100% of the time go Skytoss, okay? There's just so many beautiful angles where Tempest can reign supreme, where carriers can just deal so much damage, where Void Rays can just, yeah, fly back home to safety. There's a lot of dead space in the map, and because of that, flying units seem to do quite well. These mutas definitely have been a nuisance, but yeah, not really like the flying army that I was referencing here. I mean, they're flying units, by the strictest sense of the word, but not really like, you know, army units, I suppose, that are really good at fighting the opponent's force. Mostly used as an harassment tool instead. The amount of siege tanks here is actually very high. Yeah, it's 13 tanks. Now, Serral does say, thank you. Okay, sorry. But he does pick off a couple of those units on his way out, so that's nice. The final couple mutas here apparently have been tasked with harassing the queens. Transfusions, though, are gonna keep Mixu's queens alive, and Elazer loses all the last ones of them, but he still has a good amount of hydras and now lurkers as a follow-up, too. Alright. So far, the observing is not even going absolutely horrible, right? I remember the first time I tried casting a 2v2, I had no idea where to look. Truth be told, I'm casting these games mostly by looking at the minimap. Every once in a while, I glance in the middle of the screen roughly to see what's going on, do some zooming and all that, but here comes the force here from Elazer. Pretty heavy amount of lurkers, yeah. Infestor Viper is obviously amazing. Again, if you can control it. Well, if one player can, that's definitely Serral. Now's the transition towards the Ghost as well. So it's going to be Ghost mech here for the most part, with a couple of Metavex for support as well. More drop alerts are coming up. I did miss the drop alerts from earlier, didn't I? Well, I mean, I don't think I missed them. I just didn't see them doing anything. Fair enough. He's gonna have about 5 drop alerts available here. Good amount of stuff. Elazer trying to harass his base right now on the high ground, but slowly but surely the players are coming closer and closer together, as the last bases that are usually acquired are towards the center of the map. Is this a fake? Is this a fake Overlord drop? Is that what we're doing, Mixu? Are you kidding me right now? You show your opponents a bunch of those units and then we go across? Alright. Honestly, might be quite effective. Maybe he plans on loading them up with units a little bit later. Elazer trying to spread whatever lurker he still has available through the bases here of Serral. Might work against someone a little bit weaker, but yeah. Serral cleaned that up very easily. The cloud of overlords is still just chilling over there. I think he might actually attempt to go for a big, you know, flyby towards like the main base or maybe the Golden Expo. Spirit is running a little low. I do love the sensor tower over here, by the way. So the sensor tower, it can even spot units over there. That's silly. Anyways, a sensor tower over here inside of the Pocket Expo apparently scouts one of the Zerg expansions. Seems a little bit extreme. Now, you could actually balance 2v2 really quite well by making better maps. Like, don't get me wrong, these maps are... they're not awful, but... yeah, I don't think anyone would label these as amazing 2v2 maps. They always seem, you know, a little hard to balance. Okay. Good pickings, though. Very nicely done right there by Serral. Dealing a lot of damage. Mixu, in the meantime, though, is struggling a little bit more. I've been looking at the supply count, and Mixu has... Yeah, I was going to say, he's had like 130 supply for some time, but he's also got a pretty large bank, so he's got a lot of resources to actually reinforce his army with. Not sure why he wasn't for some time. Okay, I think he's going for a Brute Lord transition right now with a Greater Spire right over there. And then also a second Spire to start double upgrading. Okay, Nidus Network coming up. Mixu making a little bit of everything. I don't know if I like it, to be honest. Spirit and Elazer seem to be slowly taking control of the map. A lot of that static defense right here from the Terran is obviously helping out, right? So it's a lot of vision that Elazer gets help from as well. Elazer killing some of the creep, fair enough. Denying some of the vision, of course, of those creep tumors that they do provide. Yeah, so the Zergs are also trying to set up a line of static defense on this map, but Spirit is way ahead of them as far as that goes. So even though you haven't seen too much from Spirit in this game just yet as far as like attacking goes, he's been doing a great job just taking control of the map, and I would say about 50% of the map so far is in control of the players on the left side. He's looking for more. One way, though, to break out of that sort of shenanigans is by using Nidus Worm. So this is actually Serral going for a Nidus Worm. Tactical Nuke being activated as well. Okay, this is where the multitasking starts off quite aggressively. Tactical Nuke is going to be flying on over in this direction. Looks like they've spotted it, so Mixu is abandoning this base for now. One nuke is not going to be enough to kill it, but at the very least, he's pushing it back. Another Nidus Worm. This time around in a awkward location. This is not a spot that the players that spawned in the bottom left have actual vision of, so this Nidus Worm over here is going to go up unscouted. Looks like Serral put in... Yeah, that is Serral. He did put in a lot of his roaches, so the roaches are probably going to try and harass. Fair enough. A couple of spores over here being a nuisance, but those ghosts are dealing an awful lot of damage. Another Nidus Worm inside of the main base right now of Elazer. Fair enough. This is where the roaches start dealing damage. That hatchery from earlier, still very low in HP, so he's going to be able to pick that off easy peasy. A couple of Hydras being annoying. A few units that were defending the top left bases are going to be forcing the defense, but yep, at the same time, units moving on over in this direction, and it looks like Elazer cleans that up as well. All right. Now the Brute Lords have arrived. We are at 16 Brute Lords all at once. Serral has also decided to come help out in this location on the map. This is where not only do you need like 500 actions per minute, you also need to make sure you're actually communicating, right? Because those Brute Lords, they're very quite slow. You get what I'm trying to say. They are like a one-trip kind of unit where, yep, if you don't communicate properly, they get sniped down very, very fast. That was actually brilliant. I love the abduction into ghost snipes. That is one way of getting it done. Yeah, so look at that. He's up. Oh my god, he's abducting them back. So what Elazer is doing here is he's abducting the Brute Lords in range for the ghosts to snipe them down. That is the hardest counter to Brute Lords I've ever seen, and they have been completely pointless. Honestly, they've done absolutely nothing here. Yeah, Viper Ghost is a pretty sick combo. Not bad whatsoever. Now Elazer is going to go for double Nidus Worm in the main base of the Zergs. Serral, in the meantime, also going for a Nidus Worm. This is like that Spider-Man meme. Oh, well, Serral decides to go for a Greater Spire of his own. Interesting. Serral will be able to clean this up eventually, it seems. At the same time, though, those Dropper Lords finally are starting to do something. But honestly, this base is already mined out, yeah. Worst case scenario right now for Spirit is he's lifting up the command centers. He really doesn't care too much about that bit of harassment. Greater Spire gets spotted too. Serral does still have a little bit of money in the bank. Same can be said for Mixu. Both of the Zergs can make whatever they like, but it's a little bit tricky. What exactly do you go for when Spirit and Elazer have so much money in the bank and they have such a beautiful force? Wouldn't even mind seeing Spirit get rid of some of his SCVs just to, yeah, continuously add on even more of those ghosts, because the ghost count, it's at 32. My god. Yeah, no, it's amazing. I love the ghosts over here. They're dealing with every single one of the Zerg units, be it Brute Lords, be it Vipers, be it Infestors, be it Lurkers, be it even Queens. They do quite well. All right. Now, normally what you do against ghosts is Ling Bane. I don't know exactly if the Zergs are realizing that that is a pretty solid idea in this case as well. Because I think if they decide to sit around on higher tech units, it's going to be hard to get much done. I guess the problem is, though, Ling Bane gets absolutely destroyed by lurkers. So in a way, Zerg is making, the Viper and the Lurker, they're making ghosts even more powerful than they normally already are. And I wonder if maybe Elazer and Spirit have found a bit of a loophole right here in the, fight against the Swarm. They're using the Swarm as a way to fight it. Love the zoning right here from these nukes as well. So this is basically, Spirit saying, okay, you guys want to come defend the base? Come give it a try. There's nukes everywhere. By the time you get there, our lurkers are going to be in a better position anyways. Oh my god, you gotta be so careful, Mixu! Get out of there, bro! Okay. All the Brute Lords almost got blown up. Somehow, some way, those drones, they got scared for a little bit, but they did survive. One of the bases, though, that's usually supposed to be for the players on the right side of the map, is going to be taken over by Spirits. Okay, here's where the snipes come down. Okay, good hits as well, though, by Serral and by Mixu, getting a lot of damage done. Bunch of ghosts ended up going down. Bunch of fungal growths. A medevac healing a lurker. God, that's dirty. Okay, so medevacs can heal anything that's biological, and every single one of the Zerg ground units is biological, right? Therefore, they can, heal them all up. Fun fact, SCVs can repair anything that's mechanical, so they can, as a matter of fact, repair immortals. There's some crazy stuff you can do in 2v2. I've always been a fan. Yeah, I've never really considered, though, Vipers abducting so the ghosts can snipe. It is a lethal combination. Oh my god, you gotta be so careful here, bro. That nuke is gonna land. Okay, well, I think it got cancelled, actually. You didn't want to get too carried away there, apparently. Maybe the ghost did get killed, I'm not sure. There's another one of those ghosts, though. Trying to cast another nuke. Oof, Mixu. What are we... Oh, God. Well. Look away, Zerg players. Close your eyes. That was the Terran dream right there. That's exactly what you want. Okay. Spirit and Elazer fighting brilliantly here. I wonder how good the combination of Zerg and Zerg is anyways, right? Like, it's not really gonna... Well, it's gonna work well together, I suppose, as we are very familiar with, but it's not gonna create any combinations that we haven't seen before. I am not entirely sure what you would do against this. Well, you know, one thing you can do, Neural Parasite, there it is. Obviously, one thing that we've seen Serral do quite a bit recently against, you know, all of these types of armies in general anyways, is go for, like, Neural Parasites on the ghosts and then EMPing the ghosts. That is obviously a strategy that's still possible. Elazer is apparently tired of the amount of, work he's been doing in this game. He's like, I've got enough money in the bank. I don't really want to mine more. So I'm gonna get rid of some of those drones, allow me to open up with some more army supply. Fair enough. He doesn't have a lot of gas, though. Yeah, this harassment over here in the top section by Serral is very good, denying some of the gas. Another nuke coming up, though. And keep in mind, this base, it's supposed to be from the players on the right side of the map. So, right now, Elazer and Spirit have one additional base over that of the Zergs. And that is, for obvious reasons, amazing for them. Oh, that's a couple of dead ghosts. Oh, good fungal growth as well on those Vipers, but where's the follow-up? What is the follow-up? I'm not sure. My god, that seemed like a pretty good engagement right there, right? For the guys in blue, but my god, is that a lot of damage. Dude, I'm telling you, 2v2, it's really fun. These guys would definitely be practicing more 2v2 as well if there were, like, more tournaments, you know, playing it. Anyway, Serral apparently has had enough. Trying to break this position. He's realizing the situation that he's currently in. He knows, okay, if I keep doing this, it's not gonna happen. We need to make sure we take back that spot, and it looks like they may very well be able to break through it. Ghost count, though, still at 22. Their roll over here. A couple of medevacs available, too, to bring them out of this this position if they need to. Elazer now showing up with an awful lot of units too. He does still have 8,500 gas and like 100 supply available. Elazer, I don't want to complain, but I really think you might want to spend some more of your attention on Larva. Well, apparently it doesn't matter. Rapid fire use right there on the mules. Eventually it's gonna be Spirit and Elazer who obtain the victory. Our second game is on Roskalion. Once more, the team in blue. It's Serral and Mixu. The opponents this time around, in the bottom right-hand corner. First off, with the orange Zerg drones, we have Rattata and his ally. Playing with the red Protoss pieces, we are looking at Skillous' main Nexus. Alright. Thinking about it a little bit more, I think in the late game, Zergs are just gonna get smashed. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I wouldn't be surprised if they, for the most part, are gonna get smashed. So I think it's a good idea to play like a timing attack focused style, right? Go for something that, yeah, forces you into a more combined position. So for example, that push that they did in the mid game in that previous match, where they went like mass Roach Hydra, right? With the two of them, that was a really scary attack, and I think that may have potentially even won them the game if it went just ever so slightly better. I think focusing on like a timing attack together may very well be the way to go, but obviously that's very difficult to, yeah, line up properly. So already a little bit of a deviation in build orders. We're gonna cross bases. That's beautiful. Mixu taking this base over there. That means that Serral has to take this base over here. We have like an X shape on the minimap. Either way, as soon as the creep is shared, it's not gonna matter anymore. I think I would like to see something along those lines. I think I would like to see like more of a timing attack. It'll probably be quite good. There's definitely some combination that's possible as well with... Oh my god, really? I've never realized that about this map. Sorry. I was gonna bring up the combos of Zerg and Protoss, but... You see how like that hatchery is building in the optimal location and how this Nexus is building on the optimal location? For some reason, the little doodad right there on the floor is not actually centered on where the base is supposed to be. You see like that square over there on the floor? That base is... Oh my god, that bothers me so much. That's the amount of refined... Oh, that's so ugly. That is supposed to be right over there. Anyways, that's the amount of apparently practice and work that went into making these 2v2 maps. All jokes aside, Serral does have a very early spawning pool, so he's going to be able to deal some damage. You know what? Getting a pylon is nice, I suppose. It's not a pylon, though, that's powering like a cyber core or anything along those lines. Those are tucked away inside of the main base of Skillet. Skillet? The frying pan. Or, you know, the band. That also works. Anyways, of Skillous. Very safe pylon inside of the main base. That one's definitely not going to take much damage. Serral getting a little bit of work done. He didn't make too many Zerglings. So it's not like he's going to be able to, you know, deal crippling amounts. But I think that this start is pretty successful. Especially considering the amount of cheeses that you also see in 2v2. Going for an early spawning pool definitely can save you quite frequently. Stargate opener here from Skillous. Or, as a wise man once called him, Skillet. He's going for a Void Ray. Unsurprisingly. Even though Void Rays are not necessarily the go-to unit anymore in 1 versus 1. I mean, they used to be. In 2v2, they're still gonna be your jack-of-all-trades type of unit, right? Like, there's never been a game where you're like, oh my god, if only I didn't make those Void Rays, right? That doesn't happen in 2v2. Void Rays are always good. Pretty much always good anyways. Rattata apparently has decided to go for a pretty aggressive move out here, bringing some Banelings to the party. And at this point, I mean, the Zergs in blue, yeah, they're stuck on just Ling Bane so far. So Banelings are gonna be pretty good. He's trying to buy some time here. Kill that hatchery. I think there should be more than enough queens available, though, yeah, to push that back. Serral didn't even bother bringing his queens to the front. Giving Mixu the benefit of the... No, giving Mixu the respect here to clean that up. Probably would have been nice, though, to send that unit over there. Anyways, there's the Void Ray. Oracle is a follow-up, too. Yeah, so Skytools in general is super powerful in 2 versus 2, and in 1 versus 1, and in 3 versus 3, and in 4 versus 4, and in co-op, and in the campaign, and, you know, custom games. in StarCraft 1. Like, basically, every version of StarCraft, Skytools is pretty powerful, okay? So, you can't really go wrong with it. And obviously, yeah, Skillous has got a lot of experience playing that Skytools-based army as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's going to aim for here. Against that sort of force, though, Zergs will definitely need some sort of spellcasters, right? They will need, like, especially in a late game, they will need some sort of spellcaster. So I secretly hope that they're going to go for some sort of timing attack together. So far, even though they have cross creep, no lairs just yet. So that means they're once more just building up, trying to create some economy for themselves, trying to just, yeah, bring out the big guns eventually. Makes me a little nervous, not gonna lie. Okay, so there's the Roach Warren coming up, 5 minutes. There's Mixu as well, going for additional gases, going for the Evo Chamber and all that. Double Oracle available at this point for Skillous. There are 2 over... Oh my god, is that a... Really? Is that an Overlord bait? Was that on purpose? Did Rattata just fly and overextend his Overlord on purpose so those Oracles could come in? Or was that a lucky coincidence? I'll do the caster thing and pretend that that was a brilliant move right there by both of these players. Hatchery still low from earlier. Rattata is here to finish the job. There he goes. There were a couple of Banelings available, but Mixu not in the right spot at the right time. That is a lot of damage being done. Yep, that is a lot of damage being done. Okay, the lairs are coming. Eventually. Oracles right now in the main base of Mixu too. My god. Yeah, so the reason why supply-wise Mixu is ahead of hero of Serral is because of that early game that Serral decided to go for with the quick spotting pool and all that, but this game has not been going his way so far. That was weird. Like, for some reason, I started panicking a little bit, seeing those Banelings wander on over towards the Protoss mineral line, and Skillous is like, no. Those are friendlies. So real quick, by the way, let me alt-tab out just to check out exactly what rank Mixu is. On a League-elec. So he's considered to be the rank 156 in the world. So Serral considered to be the rank 1. I think Skillous is about rank 20. Let me just double check that real quick while we have a little bit of time. Yeah, he's ranked 25 right now. And Rattata. His old nickname was Vanya, by the way. He changed that some time ago. He's currently considered to be the rank 40 in the world. Alright. Yeah, that should create relatively balanced teams, right? Anyhow, what do we have here? So the Zergs are going to go for... First off, Mixu is going to go for Roaches and +1. Whereas Serral is going for a Hydralisk Den, Infestation Pit, and then into Hydra ranged and all that too. This means that once more they are going to be playing a more macro-focused style, which I feel like is a little bit dangerous. But obviously, if anyone is going to be playing that late-game army well, it's going to be Serral, so we'll see. But this gives Rattata and Skillous a lot of time to build up whatever they like. And instead, they are going to be the ones right now going for an attack. There's plenty of Zerg units available, though, here in blue. Even Lurkers are coming up. There's no way. I mean, there's no Hive yet, but even Lurkers without their Hive Tech upgrades are going to be plenty to deal with these sort of forces. A little bit of a creep denial, I suppose. But other than that, really not much is achieved. So, by the way, Rattata is not spreading creep here. The main reason for that is the fact that, well, if there's creep over on this low ground, Skillous can't put down structures. So in 2 versus 2, you can build on your allied creep. In co-op rather, you can build on your allied creep. But in 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4, you cannot. Okay, nice little attack over here. Lurkers are getting some damage done. Eventually, it looks like the hatchery... Oh, no. I thought it was going to go down, but the queens right now of Serral and Mixu showing up together. They have a lot of transfusion energy available. They're going to try and keep it alive. Okay. It will live for now. At the same time, Mixu hunting down a couple of his opponent Archons. Okay, nicely done right there. By the finish, Zerg. That calls all of the energy out of the queens, but the base is still alive, and that's the most important part. In the meantime... Skillous expanding wherever he can. Grabbing as many bases here on the right side of the map. He's decided to go for a Disruptor-based army, which, again, can deal damage to friendlies. So, yeah. That includes his own units, but it also definitely includes Rattata's units. Let's see how this goes. Well, so far. Mostly just a little skirmish, right? Players testing the waters here and making sure that the opponents are still making enough stuff as well. Serral's supply count is really not looking that good. Yeah, he's got a lot of minerals, but not a lot of gas. A lot of games of StarCraft 2 are decided out of the game, right? In the sense that, like, if you're trying to practice, usually you can learn by playing, oh god, outside of the game instead in, like, replays and all that, and analyze exactly what's going on. Maybe that's where Serral is struggling a little bit, where he's spending a lot of brain power thinking about the game and not so much about playing the game. Which is a mistake that I use as an excuse all the time. Skillous, though, bringing the bowling balls to the party. As long as the Zerg army here of his ally is not too close, you should be okay. Okay, one other very big disruptor hit. Apparently, ooh, Rattata trying to go for a bit of a run by. I don't think that was necessarily the best move. Mixu pushes that back, easy peasy. Okay, nice snipe right there by Skillous, moving forward with the Stalkers. Getting some damage in. I'm surprised he isn't going for so many flying units. Yeah. Going Stalker Disruptor. You know what? I like it. Don't get me wrong. This is Serral protecting Mixu's base with the Lurkers and Zerglings. One Lurker on the high ground also being a nuisance. Skillous can see it. So eventually that one will be cleaned up. The Zealots over here that were idle for a little while too also got cleaned up. Okay. Couple of Zealots helping out the Roach army here in orange. They'll be able to push back those Roaches from Mixu, who's now going into Vipers of his own. Okay, so Vipers are usually the ultimate counter to this sort of army, just because you can abduct the Disruptors. So once again, they're forced into that direction, right? So one Viper coming up for all the Zergs. Serral also going for some Zergling upgrades. So Mass Ling is definitely very good against Disruptor-based armies too. Hatchery on the low ground though, eventually does fall. Nice control right there by Skillous, keeping two Zerg players at bay. Oh my god, that was so close, Mixu. Oh god. Oh god, dude, twice. That was so close. Almost an absolute disaster, but Mixu stood his ground. Realized the situation that he was in. Even though I think that was a little bit closer than he ideally want to push it. Worked out. Good defense right there in the top right-hand corner as well, by the way, by Skillous. Holding on just fine. Okay. It's almost like Skillous is 2v1ing a lot of those units over here, right? Well, at this point, Rattata has also joined in the fray. Big hit. Yeah, Skillous is playing like an absolute champ here. Skillous seems to be in complete control of what's happening. Brilliant stuff. There it is, another Disruptor Bolt. Very nicely done. Okay, maybe he's getting a little bit overly aggressive now, though. Well, I say that. As long as the Disruptors are available and they don't get abducted, it's pretty nice. Good targeting there as well by the Protoss player. Those units do manage to retreat and the Vipers in the air are still available. Bit of a skirmish in the bottom left, but it looks like, for now at the very least, the blue Zergs are going to be able to continue keeping that one alive. So the entire left side of the map is the Zergs, the entire right side of the map is the Protoss and the Zerg. Okay, Mixu going around the site. I like this. At the same time, Rattata also going around the site to try and come back home. Yeah, he's trying to defend his bases. He's also got a group of Roaches in the bottom left. He did just kill up one of the hatcheries, but he didn't actually go after that base over there. At the same time, Blinding Cloud here is going to disable some of Mixu's roaches, and while this is all going on, it looks like a lot of the Protoss units did actually get picked off here. That watchtower, by the way, is amazing as well, right? Units coming in from the side. They're going to be able to pick off the final couple roaches here from Mixu. And I think that is at the very least that push held for now. Serral once again with that super annoying lurker position. Just dealing damage wherever he can. Getting on out of there right now too. This time around he's out of range of the detector. So that lurker will stay alive for a bit longer. Disruptors here very far forward. He's just kind of like spraying them around, I suppose, which can work out quite well. Rattata, though, here to reinforce his ally. Abduction as well, right there from the Zerg player in orange, trying to get rid of those lurkers of the opponent. A couple of Vipers get abducted. Those also get targeted down by the Stalkers and the Hydras combined. At the same time, though, Serral going in for a run-by with Zerglings, and this is good. This is very good. This is dealing as much damage almost as like is being done in the bottom left. A lot of drones are getting picked off. It seemed like the Zergs from Finland were getting overwhelmed, but still not looking too hot for them, though. This is dealing a lot of damage. Yeah, this is really quite good here by Serral. Okay. So this is a very low-tier type of army here from Skillous. The exact opposite of what I expected, but I love the activity. Lurker in the top right finally cleaned up too. Looks like those Zerglings are also going to be pushed back, but I don't know exactly how many workers they're responsible for killing. But 29 drones were killed here on Rattata's side of the map, and I think that's mostly that group of Zerglings we just now saw. Okay. So they've managed to stabilize. Looks like rather than going for the base over here, and the base is in the bottom left, they've decided to make a move for the expansions in the top right instead. Serral already took one of those bases. Skillous tried to build a nexus on that point. I guess they just accidentally found out they are next door neighbors in the top right. At the same point though, Skillous is now, or so Rattata rather, is taking one of the bases that normally would be considered one of the Zergs in the bottom left-hand corner. Serral does see the hatchery. Okay, turns back around to kill that. Nicely done. Okay, now we have a transition though towards additional Stargates and a fleet beacon. Fair enough. Fight in the top right. An important one. Oh no, don't forget your disruptors. I thought for a second he was gonna just walk those forward. That would be one way to come back into a game, I guess, if the opponent gives away half his army. +1 flyer attacks to him up as well for Skillous. +1 air weapons. Ooh, nice biles over there. Getting rid of like 3 of those observers all in one go. Solid abductions here. Still, retaliation as well though by those blue Zergs. Trying to shut this down. That base here is actually super low. Would love to see some units running on over there to try and harass that. That's exactly what Serral does. Killing whatever he can. Well, going after the drones first. A little bit of greed, but fair enough. At the same time, though, hatchery killed on the left side of the map. The Zerglings do kill the base. Another group of Lings in the top right-hand corner, too. It looks like Serral apparently won the fight against the Disruptors there. And that's another Nexus going down. So many probes over there. I don't think they realized that they ran on over in that location. Oh, maybe they did. I mean, I can see them. Go, 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 go. That's like a dozen probes. No, that's like 24 probes right over there. Serral, though, busy looking over here. Looks like the army is gonna get cleaned up. That is a little bit of a shame. But good save right there by Skillous. Who's at the same time, by the way, yeah, losing a ton of units over here in the middle of the map. A couple of those Vipers get abducted too, so they're gonna get picked off. Serral and Mixu hold and are going now on the offensive. Very nice. This is apparently the moment where, yeah, they're gonna go for an attack towards the other side of the map. No creep over here. Rattata has been apparently held back from doing so. And honestly, Rattata is in a lot of trouble. He's only got, well, a main and a natural. That's all he's got. He's lost all the other bases that he once upon a time had in the bottom left-hand corner. He still has a bit of a... Yeah, he's got a little bit of money in the bank, but I wouldn't mind seeing him take this expo or something along those lines. Take one of those bases. Yeah, exactly, because he needs some more mining. Carriers are coming up, though. And at this point, there's not a lot of anti-air available for the Zergs. Couple of Hydras. 13 Hydras. 3 Vipers and a couple Queens. Fair enough, but not that much. I don't know if the carriers have been spotted. They're going more Hydras. Still quite a few Disruptors are available, too. Well, 7, actually. That's a good amount for sure. But no Corruptor transition or anything along those lines is coming up. They're trying to take bases in the bottom left corner again. Not an easy position to break, but they're trying their best. Pushing creep in that direction would really help, yeah. Keeping those bases alive would definitely be much easier if there was creep in that corner. Either way, Skillous is once again maxed out. He can easily feed some of his resources as well to the Rattata, which I think he should do at this point. He's going Storm, he's just building up whatever he can, but he's maxed and his ally is not, so I think prioritizing your allied, you know, maxness is probably also very important. Anyways, at the very least, the carriers have now been spotted if they weren't already. One of them gets picked off right away. Neuroparasite coming up here for Mixu. Zerglings from Serral running on over in the bottom left-hand corner, killing whatever they can. Ooh, nice catch right there, actually, by Mixu. Grabbing some of his, some of Rattata's units. Yeah, this Protoss army is looking scary. Yo, Skillous, quit hoarding the resources, bro. Give your ally some. Skillous is building whatever he likes. He's like, yeah, boy, I'm rich. Let's go. Rattata trying to produce 3 Hydras at once. Barely affording the +3 upgrade. Okay, you know what? Those abductions here from Rattata, though, are amazing. Once again, Vipers, they flush really well together with those other units. That choke point over here is super tight. Not something that a Zerg push can go through. Well, at least not when there's Disruptors in the back. Okay, nice catch right here, though. Mixu grabbing whatever army he can. Serral setting up the sandwich. And there it is. That is a Rattata sandwich if I've ever seen one. Ton of damage being done right here by the players in blue, and they take a dominating advantage as Rattata's army gets cleaned up. At the same time, Serral has split up his forces. He's running back home right now, not really bothering to fight over here, but he is dealing some damage on the other side of the map. Skillous came, but a little bit too late. He's going into some more upgrades here. Man, he's got so much money. I don't know if these guys realize you can trade resources. Ooh. Maybe a little bit of lag in this game. Okay, so that's a couple of the observers asking if other people are having some lag as well. Okay. Carriers, though, dealing so much damage here. Those Vipers still alive. So Rattata still is helping out. Even though he doesn't have much of an army, he still has all of his Vipers alive. And those Vipers are flushing... Like, they're doing such an amazing job working together here with the Skytles that is already there from his allied Protoss. Yeah, well, flushing the Zergs down the drain at the very least. Oh, there we go. No, there's the assimilations by Mixu trying to take control of his, is that Mixu? Yeah. Of as many of those carriers as possible. Serral and Mixu clean up at the very least some of the Skytles units. But we're getting to the point where Serral is going rather broke. He's now going for the base in the bottom left-hand corner. Once again, sending in Zerglings for the run-by, buying some time. This base, no way that one's gonna live. This is one of his few lifelines, but he's in a lot of trouble. Mixu going in for a Nidus Worm, though, to try and continuously harass the opponents, too. Fair enough. Great moves here, though, by Skillous. He's got a hell of an army. He's now supplementing the units he's already got with some additional High Templar as well. They do definitely have Storm. I think I saw that on the production tab. Yeah, so they do have Storm. Templar Archives even gets targeted there for a little bit before there's additional Zealots available to push this back. Well, Mixu is going to try and help out in that regard. They're trying to eat up the Protoss base from the inside out. Protoss, though, still plenty of Warpins available. This position here on those Zealots is fantastic as well, right? Just slicing and dicing up as many of those Zerglings as they can. Morlinks trying to go in for the run-by, but I think that Skillous just cleaned this up really well. More carriers coming up. The mothership is coming up. 4 additional Stargates in the top right-hand corner. Skillous does have to be a little bit careful, though, because even though he did have a nice bank earlier, he doesn't have a lot of mineral fields to mine from anymore. As a matter of fact, I think this is going to be like one of the last bases he can really mine from if it continues like this. Not if Serral has anything to say about it, no? Anyways, big fight over here in the middle of the map once again. Spore Crawlers are available as well for Mixu, trying to just help out wherever he can against this Skytles-based force. There we go once more, though. Neural Parasite activated right there on the Archons. Blinding Clouds, though, from Rattata are forcing those Hydras to the front, and then Storms to pick them off. Skillous' Skytles army so far is doing quite well, but the Interceptors, for the most part, have been destroyed. There's fights going on as well in the top right-hand corner, where Serral is apparently harassing wherever he can, denying some more of that mining that this still is for the Protoss player. Zerglings in the meantime in the main base. Mixu is once again infesting wherever he can. Looks like the push here will be at the very least pushed back, but the Skytles army is still alive. And while there's not a lot of Interceptors available, it's just a matter of time until those are rebuilt. Skillous does still have enough money for that at the very least. I think those additional 4 Stargates was a bit of a mistake, though. Alright, Zork's just going for the heavy harassment. This is sick. We're nearly a half hour into this game and I still don't know who's winning. Great stuff. I thought it was Serral and Mixu. And then I thought it was Skillous and Rattata. And now I'm not sure anymore. Okay. Top right-hand corner. Used to be infested by the Protoss. Now it's infested by the Zerg. Although I don't really know exactly if Protoss is actually infest things. Maybe they're making investments. A little bit different. The V and the F, whatever. What's the difference? Basically the same thing. Ooh, a couple of lurkers over here would be amazing. Those probes are looking mighty juicy, and yeah. There is call for a retreat right now. The Skytles army is still looking strong, though. This is still 7 carriers, all carrying 8 interceptor ships. Not a lot of anti-air available for the Zergs. 25 Hydras, fair enough. Yeah, there's really not that much anti-air available here for the Zergs. This is something they need to be very cautious about. Some of the little amount of anti-air that is available is also right over here, being a nuisance. Assimilation once again successful. One of them changing sides. There are some disruptors as well as High Templar Storms moving forward, though. That assimilation didn't last for the full duration because the unit got stormed to death. Another assimilation, though, helping out here. Fighting against those Protoss units. So Mixu bringing it back towards the safety, quote-unquote safety of that Zerg force for now. It looks to me, though, that slowly but surely Skillous and Rattata are breaking through the Zerg players in blue. And even though they tried their very best, I think eventually, nearly half an hour into this game, right? I think it's been decided, right? I mean, I still see the carriers alive and no answer for them. So even though it's going to take a while for them to rebuild the interceptors, those storms are absolutely lethal. Archons are coming up on the back of this too. It's a classic 1-2 punch. I've got a feeling that since there's no way to really properly deal with those carriers, it should eventually be a victory for the players in the bottom right. There are still a couple of changelings over there being annoying, but Serral is dead broke. Mixu has only about 20 supply. GG is cold. Rattata and Skillous obtain the victory.